When Caleb went away for an academic conference, I had transferred money to him with a simple request: buy me a jar of eye cream from the duty-free shop. He declined, claiming he was too pressed for time. Yet, he somehow found the moments to carefully select a jar of the ultra-expensive Helena Rubinstein black bandage cream for Bella. He even presented it to her with tender concern, telling her, "This is a gift from your senior. You have been burning the midnight oil on our projects lately, and your complexion looks exhausted." I broke up with him. Later, he would buy 10 jars of Estee Lauder for me, kneeling in the pouring rain, begging for forgiveness. I would only smile and refuse him, saying, "No need. I deserve better skincare, and I certainly deserve a better man." But before that ending, there was the discovery. I found out my boyfriend Caleb had already returned from Hainan, not from him, but because of my roommate, Chloe. She rushed in, eyes wide with gossip and admiration. "Your Caleb just appeared downstairs at the Institute of Electrical Engineering," she told me, breathless. "And he was carrying a Helena Rubinstein shopping bag. That is definitely a luxury gift he brought back for you." So he was back already. Hadn't he told me his flight was scheduled for tomorrow? I opened WeChat. Our conversation was frozen in time from yesterday evening. I had asked him to pick up the Estee Lauder cream at the airport, money already sent. He had replied that he was with his academic advisor and it wasn't convenient to act on his own. Then, there was my lonely message from 9:30 p.m. asking if he was asleep. He never replied. Scrolling up through the history of the past few months, the screen was filled with a suffocating dullness. I was the one initiating almost every interaction. The stray orange cat at school has been spoiled rotten. I gave it sausage today and it turned its nose up. Then stopped feeding it. The new sci-fi movie is getting rave reviews. Let's go this weekend. Okay. I'm not coming back to the dorm tonight. Don't forget the condoms we left. But you are on your period. Then let's wait until next week. Did he really come back early? Today marked our 6th anniversary. Since morning, my phone had been silent, not a single message from him. I had been annoyed, choosing not to reach out first, thinking perhaps he was planning a surprise. I remembered our first anniversary. He had claimed he needed to return to his hometown for an emergency, leaving me devastated that night. But then, like a scene from a movie, I saw him standing downstairs outside my dorm, holding an enormous bouquet of roses. Holding onto that memory, I decided to swallow my pride. I wouldn't text first. Instead, I would go straight to the lab to find him. I casually grabbed the gift I had prepared, a pair of high-end headphones he had been coveting for months. The lab door was slightly ajar. I heard the voices of his lab mates discussing dinner plans. Then I heard Caleb's voice. "I am waiting for someone. I am not going." My heart lifted, a flutter of hope returning. Someone teased him. We know. You are waiting for Audrey, right? Being apart for a few days makes it feel like a honeymoon again. Come on, you two are like an old married couple. One kiss from you, and he will have nightmares for days." Then Caleb spoke, his voice laced with a heavy weariness. "Now, it is just the same routine for me and her. When we get into bed, we follow the exact same steps every time. There is not a shred of novelty left. It is honestly boring." I stood frozen in the hallway. I still remembered the first time we kissed. It was during the National Day holiday, back when our romance was new and fragile. The heat that day was oppressive. We walked along the east side of the lake, refusing to stop, our palms soaked in sweat, yet neither of us willing to let go. We chewed through an entire pack of gum just to keep the nerves at bay. The streetlights along the lake had flickered off one by one, and the full moon dipped low toward the horizon. The cicadas and birds had fallen silent. He had leaned in slowly, awkwardly cupping my face, and pressed a feather-light kiss to my lips. The night was so quiet I could hear the chaotic, out-of-sync rhythm of our heartbeats. His hand had slid gently around my waist, fumbling, blocked by the complex belt of my shirt, unsure of how to proceed. I had once made a mysterious gift for him, wrapped tightly with a belt like a puzzle box full of hidden meaning. In the end, he had undone that knot and tasted the bittersweet affection inside. Seeing me burst into happy tears that night, he promised he would always be good to me. Once, in a moment of youthful passion, he even swore he would die in my arms in this lifetime. And yet, now he stood in a lab telling others that everything we had was no longer new, just a boring routine. Just when the pain became unbearable, the lab door was pushed fully open. Caleb and I locked eyes. The noisy room instantly fell into a dead silence. Everyone looked incredibly awkward. Mason rubbed his nose, breaking the tension with an embarrassed tone. "Audrey, you are here." He quickly added, "We will head out to eat first," and the group scattered in a hurry. Only Caleb and I were left as the door hung open. I noticed his desk was empty, but on the desk of Bella, his junior, sat the unmistakable Helena Rubinstein shopping bag. It was still hot in September, yet a sudden draft blew through the quiet hallway, cold enough that goosebumps broke out all over my arms. Caleb was the one to break the silence. He reached out his hand toward the box I was holding. "I have wanted those headphones for a long time. You bought them for me." I pulled my hand back sharply, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Didn't you say you wouldn't be back until tomorrow? How could I possibly have come to find you today?" Just then, the door to the adjacent lab opened, and Logan walked out. As soon as he saw me, he greeted me warmly before his eyes widened in surprise at the box in my hand. "Those headphones have incredible sound quality, and they are sold out everywhere. Where did you find them? Can you send me the link? I have been wanting a pair too." Without hesitation, I pushed the headphones into Logan's hands. "They are for you. Thank you for helping me fix my computer last time." Logan glanced at Caleb, sensing the tension. "If they are this expensive, let me transfer you the money. Are you free? I can take you to dinner." Caleb immediately stepped forward, putting a possessive hand on my arm. "My girlfriend is not free." I brushed his hand off, annoyed. Logan simply smiled, held up his phone, and said, "Then we will contact each other later." After Logan left, Caleb pulled me a few steps into the room, lowering his voice to a coaxing tone. "Those headphones were expensive. You don't have to get so mad that you give them away to someone else. What I said earlier with Mason and the guys, it was just men talking nonsense. Don't take it seriously. I am sorry. I won't do that again." He paused, his brow furrowing. "But if your computer broke, why didn't you come to me? Why did you ask Logan to fix it? He doesn't have a good reputation." I looked at him coldly. "I told you. I was right downstairs, but you were too busy replying to messages and just mumbled at me. I took it to the repair shop near the campus gate, but it's a shady place. Chloe's laptop was taken there once, and she ended up with a huge bill for nothing." Later, Logan texted me saying he enjoys hardware repair and told me to bring it to him. He fixed it in 2 hours and brought it back, only accepting a cup of milk tea as thanks. To me, he is just a good person. I have nothing to hide. I let out a cold laugh. "You are incredible, Caleb. You came back early, yet your girlfriend is the last one to know. Don't you think that deserves an explanation?" Caleb went silent for 2 or 3 seconds before saying, "I wanted to surprise you." He leaned over, snatched the Helena bag from Bella's desk, and shoved it into my hand. "I bought this from the duty-free shop just for you." I opened the bag. Inside was a jar of the black bandage cream, priced at over 2,000 yuan, more than a month of his lab stipend, and far more expensive than the Estee Lauder eye cream I had actually asked for. But I didn't want it. I was about to shove it back when a breathless, excited voice suddenly rang out. "Senior, I came running as soon as I got your message. Even though you were busy studying in Hainan, you still went to the duty-free store to buy Helena for me. I am so touched. Tonight, I will treat you to noodles and add extra beef the way you like it." Bella kept talking nonstop, fast and relentless. Caleb couldn't squeeze a single word in, and his face flushed a brilliant, guilty red. I stepped forward 2 steps and stood next to him at the doorway, silently staring straight at Bella. She went pale instantly, backing up half a step and hiding behind Caleb, her eyes turning red. "Audrey, you are here too." I turned to Caleb. "The person you said you were waiting for was her, wasn't it?" I lifted the bag in my hand. "Did you buy 2 jars of this cream, or did you take the one you originally planned to give her and hand it to me instead?" Caleb's Adam's apple moved up and down, and he didn't dare look me in the eyes. He only glanced sideways at Bella, his gaze carrying a hint of pleading. Bella forced a weak smile and waved her hands frantically. "It is fine, Audrey. If you like it, take it. I can just use something from Double Repair instead." Caleb's face grew more and more ashamed. I couldn't hold back the rising tide of anger anymore, and my voice rose. "You think I need you to give it up for me? You know he has a girlfriend, yet you still accept expensive gifts from him. You don't see a problem with that? Acting like this, how is it any different from knowingly inserting yourself into someone else's relationship?" Doors from other labs cracked open. Clearly, people were listening. Bella's eyes turned red, tears dripping onto the floor as she whispered, "It is my fault. I will keep my distance from him from now on. My brother passed away from illness a few years ago. We were very close. Caleb always took care of me, and I kept seeing my brother's shadow in him. I was foolish. I should have remembered my brother is gone." Her tears fell like rain, her small shoulders trembling nonstop. I spoke coldly, unmoved by the performance. "Your brother is dead, yet you are still using him as an excuse to cover up the fact that you are dreaming about someone else's boyfriend. Aren't you afraid he will come back in the middle of the night to haunt you for it?" Bella sobbed even harder and stammered, "Audrey, you can scold me however you want, but please don't bring my brother into this. He is gone. How could you?" "I am scolding you," I cut her off sharply. "Not him." Caleb frowned deeply and stepped forward to shield her. "She has been staying up late helping me with my project. That is why I bought the cream to thank her. I gave it to her myself. It had nothing to do with her asking for it. Audrey, why do you keep poking at other people's wounds? When did you become so harsh and mean?" The accusation hung in the air. After the college entrance exam years ago, I had accidentally walked in on Caleb and his mother confronting his father and the mistress. His mother was so heartbroken she could only cry. Caleb had wanted to protect her, but he couldn't win against the mistress's sharp tongue or his father's obvious favoritism. The scene had reminded me of my own childhood. Back then, I was too young. Faced with my father's betrayal and indifference, all I could do was call him a terrible father and tiptoe to wipe my mother's tears. I couldn't do anything else. But that day with Caleb's family, I had rushed in and unleashed a torrent of insults at his father and the mistress, trampling all their so-called true love speeches without mercy. I still remember how Caleb looked at me that day, his eyes shining like they held stars. He admired me, he respected me. "Audrey, thank you. Your words are sharp and smart," he had said. Later on, he had seen me arguing with my own father, trying hard not to cry. He had felt so bad for me, pulling me into his arms. "I know you are holding everything in. Just cry. It will make you feel better." My mother raised me alone. I don't know how many unfair looks and cruel comments I had to endure growing up. If I wasn't sharp-tongued, I would have become her weakness. I had to grow thorns to protect myself and to protect her. I once thought Caleb understood the softness hidden beneath my strong exterior. Yet now, he was calling me cruel and spiteful for the very trait he once cherished. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Caleb, I have always been like this. I have never changed. The one who changed is you. Ill it go." The paper bag slipped from my fingers, hitting the floor with a heavy, final thud. Bella did not miss a beat, her expression morphing into one of exaggerated distress as she murmured, "Audrey, even if you are consumed by anger, you should not throw something like that." His entire monthly stipend was barely enough to secure that jar of cream. It is truly precious. I let out a cold, hollow laugh, locking my gaze directly into Caleb's eyes. Did you forget? Today marks our 6-year anniversary. We began our story on this very day, and ending it on this day feels almost poetic. I offered him a faint, weary smile. Caleb, let's break up. Without waiting for a response, I turned on my heel and walked away, my steps brisk and determined. Caleb scrambled after me, his tone dropping to a soft, pleading register. Audrey, the day isn't over yet. Can we still celebrate together? Bella trailed behind us, clutching the bag containing the expensive cream like a holy relic, her voice low. Even if you are upset, Audrey, do not take it out on the gift. The elevator doors slid open. I stepped inside immediately and hammered the close button. Caleb took long, desperate strides, prepared to force his way in after me. But at that precise second, Bella suddenly collapsed to the tiled floor, wincing as her face contorted in pain. She looked up with a fragile, martyr-like smile. Don't worry about me, Senior. Go apologize to Audrey. Caleb froze, torn between the two of us. The elevator doors began to seal the gap between our worlds. Through the narrowing slit, I watched him abandon his pursuit of me to rush toward Bella, dropping to his knees to inspect her ankle. Just before the metal doors clicked shut, Bella lifted her head and shot me a triumphant smirk. By the time I exited the laboratory building, the sky had surrendered to darkness. The streetlights had not yet flickered to life, leaving the campus submerged in a heavy, ashy gloom. I made my way to the cafeteria and ordered a bowl of braised beef noodle soup. There was a time when Caleb refused to touch beef. On his mother's birthday years ago, she had prepared his father's favorite beef stew, only to discover on that same night that he was cheating on her. That pot of stew ended up thrown across the kitchen like a weapon. Since then, Caleb loathed the dish, but it remained my favorite. When I was in middle school, my own father once returned, begging my mother to take him back. My mom and I had been celebrating her new job, sitting before a table full of delicious food. My father's intrusion ruined the atmosphere, and none of us could stomach the meal. Yet, after he left, my mother packed up the leftovers and told me, people can be wrong, but food is innocent. No matter how sorrowful you are, you must eat properly. No man is worth starving yourself over. Because of me, Caleb had slowly accepted beef again, eventually coming to enjoy it. He once told me, every time I eat beef, I will think of you. I sat there wondering how many times he and Bella had shared beef noodles, and whether my name ever crossed his mind. Today, the chef must have been nursing a foul mood. The broth tasted bitter. My phone vibrated incessantly with Caleb's calls. Lacking the energy to deal with him, I powered the device off completely and walked alone out of the school gates toward the riverside. The summer night was sweltering, the air thick and suffocating. Even the breeze off the river offered no relief, serving only to sting my eyes. As if the universe intended to mock me, I spotted a box of that expensive cream drifting on the rippling surface of the water. I picked up a stone and hurled it with all my might. The box sank for a moment, but seconds later, it bobbed back up, floating defiantly as if laughing at my futility. The truth is, I can afford luxury skincare. I earn top-tier scholarships every year. My advisor is generous with support, and I have my own income from part-time work. My mother sends me an allowance monthly. However, neither Caleb nor I come from wealthy families. If we ever wanted to build a life in this city, to buy a house or a car, we needed capital. I could not let my mother support me through graduate school only to drain her resources further just to indulge myself. That is why, from clothes to jewelry to skincare, I always chose the affordable, practical options. Finances between Caleb and me were always separate. We split every dating expense down the middle. It turns out the cynics online were right. If you are too careful about saving a man's money, sooner or later, he will spend it on another woman. I wandered the streets until just before curfew, finally dragging myself back to the dormitory. Caleb was pacing anxiously outside the entrance. When he saw me, he rushed over, panic etched on his face. "Where did you go? Your phone has been off this whole time. Do you know how terrified I was?" He thrust a giant bouquet of roses and 2 jars of Estee Lauder toward me. "Happy 6-year anniversary. I just bought these eye creams from the flagship store. Are you not mad anymore?" As the words left his lips, Bella emerged from the shadows. "Audrey, you do not know this, but Senior was frantic about you. If you hadn't returned, he was ready to call the police." Bella lowered her eyes, her voice dripping with guilt. "Everything that happened today is my fault. I saw Senior was overwhelmed, so I tried to help. I shouldn't have accepted such an expensive gift. Please don't be mad at him because of me. I will keep my distance from now on." I did not take the gift. I simply looked at Bella and curled my lips into a cold, derisive smile. "Go on, keep acting. I have seen better performances from 5-year-olds. Were you born with a compulsion to steal what belongs to others? Or is there something defective in your bones that forces you to crawl toward someone else's things? Do me a favor. Stay away. It is late, and I do not have the patience to deal with cheap green tea nonsense. It ruins my sleep." Bella's eyes instantly rimmed with red tears. "I will leave right now. As long as you and Senior can reconcile, I will be relieved." Caleb grabbed her wrist to stop her, frowning deeply at me. "Audrey, that is enough. Bella hurt her foot, yet she still hobbled all over campus looking for you, apologizing nonstop. I bought flowers and gifts for you, lowering my dignity as much as I could. Is that not enough? You disappeared without a word. Did you ever consider how we felt? How far do you plan to push this before you are satisfied?" I noticed that word with cruel clarity. And the most absurd part was that he expected me, in this moment, to care about their feelings. The fury rising within me pushed me straight into cold sarcasm. "Did I run experiments for you? Did I rush your deadlines? No labor, no reward. Besides, we have already broken up. I definitely shouldn't be accepting expensive gifts from you." I stepped around them toward the dorm entrance, but Caleb seized my wrist tightly. His voice dropped to a hush. "Audrey, don't say things you will regret. Fine, I am wrong. Everything is my fault, okay? Just don't make a scene. I do not agree to this breakup." I looked up at him and offered a small, pitiable smile. "Caleb, a divorce requires both people to sign, but a breakup does not. As long as I want it, then from this moment on, there is nothing between us." Caleb held on to me, his lips parting as if to argue, but no words came out. The dorm's 11 o'clock curfew bell rang out, shrill and demanding. The supervisor stuck her head out the door. "You 3 coming in or not?" I shook Caleb's hand off and walked quickly into the building. The door clicked shut behind me, locking us into 2 different worlds. When I returned to my room, Chloe was hanging up laundry. She glanced at me and said, "Caleb is still downstairs. He is typing messages like crazy. Bella is down there, too. She keeps lightly tugging on his arm, comforting him." Chloe lowered her voice to a whisper. "Curfew is long past. If they aren't going back to their dorms, are they planning to get a room outside for the night?" Caleb's messages flooded in one after another. At first, it was a stream of apologies, promising that if any future situation involved giving gifts to female friends, he would discuss it with me first. Then came a long, winding explanation about how he and Bella were completely innocent. He claimed the other lab mates were lazy and only Bella was serious, but the professor scrutinized her unfairly. Since she was from his hometown, Caleb claimed he only watched out for her as a senior looking after a junior. Absolutely nothing romantic. I replied, "You don't need to explain anything to me. We have already broken up. Whoever you want to be vague with, whoever you want to care about, has nothing to do with me." That pushed him over the edge, and he stopped hiding his true thoughts. "Audrey, we have been together 6 years. I am your first man. I have to take responsibility for you. That is why I have put up with your terrible temper all this time. You think I can't find someone else? You should think carefully. If we break up now and I get a new girlfriend tomorrow, even if you regret it, I won't come back." I typed back steadily. "I have thought very carefully. Goodbye, Caleb. Then I blocked him on every platform. Half an hour later, Bella sent me a video. She and Caleb were in a hotel room. On the bathroom counter, I caught a glimpse of a black jar. It was the Helena cream, already opened and used. Bella's voice narrated the scene. "Audrey, our dorms are locked and we can't get back in. Senior booked a room here for me. He told me not to tell you, but I was afraid you would misunderstand more. So I sent the video. We are in separate rooms. His room is right across from mine. He just bought 2 bottles of liquor and went back to his room. Don't worry, Audrey. I will keep an eye on him. I won't let anything happen." Chloe saw me staring blankly at the screen and leaned over to look. Her eyes turned red with anger. This is peak green tea behavior. She is obviously doing it on purpose to provoke you. Audrey, calm down. Do not fall for that snake's trap. Block her. Block her immediately. My God, what the hell is this? I exited the chat app and turned to her. Do you have the chemistry department advisor's phone number? Chloe's eyes lit up. Of course, you are going to call him. I nodded, made the call, and then shut my phone off before climbing into bed. I tossed and turned, and in my dreams, I saw myself traveling with Caleb. It was early in the morning, and for some reason, we ended up arguing in our homestay. I have always had a hot temper. After a while, my voice grew louder and louder. He said a few things and retreated into the bathroom, staying inside for a long time. I got furious and knocked on the door repeatedly. When he finally opened it, he handed me a paper rose folded out of tissue. Okay, it's my fault. I shouldn't have made you mad while you were brushing your teeth. He looked into the mirror, staring at my reflection with a soft smile. Look at you. Such a bad temper. Who else could tolerate this? I put my toothbrush down. If you regret it now, it's not too late. He laughed and pulled me into his arms. You're angry again, but it's fine. If other people can't handle your temper, then you will always belong to me. I am the only one with the honor of seeing you mad. When we were still in love, even my anger was adorable to him. He felt proud of being the only one who could soothe me. But once he stopped loving me, even when I was defending myself justly, he called me harsh and bitter. When I woke up, my pillow was wet. No matter what happens with men, life still goes on. My thesis still needed to be written. I quickly revised a few sections, then stepped out of my room. The moment I exited the dorm building, Bella rushed toward me. It was clear she hadn't slept at all. Her eyes were bloodshot. She raised her hand to slap me right in front of everyone. Luckily, I reacted quickly and blocked her strike. She tugged a few times, but couldn't break free and immediately burst into tears. Audrey, there is really nothing between me and Senior. Why did you report to the professor that I stayed out all night? Haven't you ever slept outside the dorm before? Senior told me you two lived like a married couple. He even remembers every mole on your body. You two must have opened hotel rooms countless times and been intimate countless times. I only wanted to help you both get back together. But with one report, I lost my scholarship, and now I will struggle to afford living expenses. And now everyone thinks I am. Audrey, you were raised by a single mom. I thought you would understand my difficult situation. Caleb had been standing not far away. At this moment, he stepped forward and pulled my hand away from Bella's wrist. Enough. Let her go, Audrey. You really went too far this time. Now the whole department knows the two of us stayed at a hotel last night. You ruined both our reputations. Their reputations. Clean reputations. But I no longer wanted to argue. I didn't want to waste any more energy. My mother once told me, wasting emotional energy on a man is the stupidest thing a woman can do. I took a deep breath, forcing the trembling in my chest to subside until my tone was dangerously calm. Caleb, if that slap had actually landed on my face just now, would you tell me I deserved it? Caleb froze. He knew me. He knew I wasn't the type to sit quietly and endure violence. I didn't let him speak. I cut him off, my voice turning icy. No matter how you spin it, the ones in the wrong here are the two of you. The report I filed last night was intentional because your behavior was inappropriate. I have always lived by the rule of tit for tat. So, from this moment on, both of you need to stay away from me." I paused, letting the weight of my next words settle between us. "And I'm going to tell everyone that we have broken up. It is your freedom to book a room with whoever you want, and it is your freedom to sleep with whoever you choose. Just don't talk to me about being clean anymore." I meant every word. I pulled out my phone, snapped a photo of the bright morning sky, and uploaded it to my story. I typed the caption without hesitation. "The weather is beautiful today. Maybe even the sky thinks I shine brighter when I'm single." Caleb watched me take the picture and edit the text. Just as my finger hovered over the post button, panic seized him. He lunged forward, pushing my hand down, his voice trembling with disbelief. "We have been together for 6 years, Audrey. Over something this small, you're really breaking up with me, and you want to post it publicly for everyone to see." There was nothing for me to worry about anymore. In 6 years of dating, our families knew everything. They knew that after our master's program, we planned to marry. My mother had told me countless times not to stress, that she had saved enough to help with a down payment on a house so we wouldn't struggle. But now it was too late. In the brief struggle between our hands, my thumb brushed the screen. The post went up. Caleb's eyes widened in horror. He grabbed for my phone. Delete it right now, Audrey. Can't we just calm down and talk?" But I had no intention of deleting it. In that moment, Caleb finally realized the truth. Yes, I had a temper, but I had never once used a breakup as a threat or a bargaining chip. The fact that I said it now wasn't because I was angry or trying to manipulate him into cutting ties with Bella. It was because I had truly decided. There was no turning back. Caleb reached out to pull me into his arms, but the moment he saw the sheer disgust in my eyes, his fingers recoiled reflexively. He stammered, "Audrey, I really didn't do anything. Are you really going to throw away 6 years that easily?" He thought 6 years was an unbreakable fortress. He was just like those lousy husbands who believe that as long as they aren't caught in the act in bed, they can always deny it. They are convinced that because a woman has invested so much time and youth, she won't dare to walk away. But I am not weak. My stomach isn't filled with soft sand, it is filled with fire. I stepped past him. As I passed Bella, she glared at me with pure, unadulterated resentment. I stopped and smiled sweetly at her. "Congratulations, you successfully poached him. I don't need him anymore. Go ahead and keep him." Caleb and I had always been considered a perfect match. Similar family backgrounds, similar academic abilities, compatible looks. We had been together since high school, through undergrad, and now grad school. Our lives were entangled with mutual friends. Everyone assumed marriage was inevitable. My WeChat exploded. Over 99 unread messages flooded the screen. Some were curious, some concerned, some regretful. I only replied to a few close friends. At lunchtime, my mother called. "Caleb just called me," she said, her voice steady. "He talked for a long time. He admitted he was at fault and begged me to talk to you on his behalf." My mom had always liked Caleb. Sometimes, I even felt she liked him more than she liked me. I felt a pang of irritation. "So, you want to persuade me to get back with him too?" She asked calmly, "Are you just angry, or have you really decided?" "I've decided," I said firmly. "Then break up," she replied without a second of hesitation. I was stunned. "But Mom, you always liked him." She sighed softly through the phone. "Silly girl, you are my daughter. Of course, I love you more. Everyone meets a few lousy men in their life. You are lucky you recognized his true colors early. You aren't worried that I'll think you're overreacting." Overreacting? How is it overreacting when a betrayal of trust is involved? If it were me, I'd have slapped him 10 times already before I felt better. She continued, her tone darkening slightly. And there is something I haven't told you yet. Actually, Caleb's parents and his roommates have been saying things like, "This isn't quite cheating yet." Luckily, Audrey reacted quickly and reported it. "They think you should just let it go." My mom said that since I had already vented my anger, I should move on from him. After all, being together for 6 years wasn't easy, and breaking those ties is painful. I had moments of doubt, too, wondering if maybe I was being too demanding. But her words cleared the fog in my heart. I gave the phone a loud kiss and thanked her. After hanging up, I went with some classmates to cafeteria number 3 for lunch. The moment I sat down, I noticed Caleb wandering through the crowd. Ever since the second semester of our first year of grad school, when Bella started adding him on WeChat and frequently asking him questions, our time together had noticeably decreased. He claimed we were already like an old married couple and didn't need to be glued together constantly. He used to complain that Cafeteria 3 was too far, that he was busy in the lab and didn't want to waste time. Now, suddenly, he had all the time in the world. When he spotted me, his eyes lit up. He carried his tray and hurried toward me. I said coldly without looking up, "Sorry, this seat is taken." He glanced around at the empty chairs. "No one is here." His voice softened, dropping to an intimate whisper. "It's just the 3 of us sitting together. Audrey, there is really nothing between me and her. I haven't even held her hand. Please don't be mad anymore. Are you really going to throw away 6 years of love over something this tiny?" I lifted my head and looked him straight in the eyes, articulating each word clearly. "This seat is really taken." "Taken by who?" he demanded. Right then, Logan arrived with his tray and sat down across from me, smiling brightly. "Sorry, Caleb. Audrey saved this seat for me." Logan pointed to the far corner of the cafeteria. "There's an open seat over there. You can sit there." Caleb's chest rose and fell rapidly. "You're sitting across from my girlfriend like this? Don't you think that's inappropriate?" Logan blinked innocently. "Didn't you two break up already? You can take a junior to book a hotel room, but your ex-girlfriend can't even sit with another guy in a cafeteria." His voice was loud enough for half the room to hear. People around us perked up immediately, listening intently to the drama. Caleb's face turned bright red. He lowered his voice, desperate. "Audrey, nothing happened between me and Bella. If you care so much, I promise I'll keep my distance from her from now on. Please unblock me on WeChat. I want to explain everything." I snapped, slamming my chopsticks down. "Enough. Do you want me to lay out every detail of what you two did in front of everyone here?" Caleb trembled. A few seconds later, he sighed, defeated. "Fine. Once you calm down, unblock me. I'll wait for you. Just calm down, okay?" Deep down, he knew very well that the ambiguity between him and Bella wouldn't survive a single serious question. All that fake, we're just close like siblings, nonsense would crumble instantly under scrutiny. Yet, he still wanted to manipulate me, trying to make me think I was petty, that I was paranoid. As long as he wasn't fully exposed, he planned to keep pretending to be righteous. Earlier, Logan had tried to transfer money to repay me for the headphones I had given him, but I refused. I had given them on impulse, and once a gift is given, you don't take it back. Logan insisted on treating me to a meal instead. We agreed on Sichuan hot pot at the famous place near the campus gate that weekend. During that time, Caleb kept asking roommates and mutual friends to reach out to me. He even waited outside my classroom to block my path. I ignored everything. Logan messaged me on WeChat to remind me not to forget our dinner plans. When I arrived, he was already seated upstairs near the stairway, waiting for me. He had even brought the headphones, showing them off like a prized treasure. "Audrey, these headphones have insane sound quality. Here, try listening again." I couldn't refuse his enthusiasm. I put them on, but there was no sound. I looked at Logan, confused. He stood up. Logan placed one hand on the back of my chair, and I leaned forward to check the controls. Maybe we forgot to turn them on, I said. Audrey, what a coincidence. Logan and I turned our heads at the same time. Professor Wang, Caleb's advisor, was leading a group of students upstairs. It seemed the Hainan trip had gone smoothly. As usual, the whole group was heading out for a celebratory dinner. Bella trailed right behind Caleb, sticking close to him with every step, and Caleb's eyes were glued to me. Since Caleb and I were both scholarship students, Professor Wang recognized me immediately. He spoke half jokingly, half reminding Caleb, Audrey is very well liked. You know, Caleb, you should learn to treasure your girlfriend. Then he looked at Logan. Your advisor was just complaining to me that you left work halfway and disappeared. Logan's expression didn't change as he helped me press the power button on the headphones. I was planning to go back after dinner. Suddenly, music flowed through the headphones. The lyrics drifted into my ears. I miss you. I wonder where you are now, living in joy or sorrow. I took the headphones off and handed them back to Logan. Professor Wang smiled. We booked a private room. Why don't you join us for dinner? Caleb hurried forward and grabbed my wrist, his eyes pleading. Audrey, come with me. Please just give me some face. Logan looked at me, gripping the headphones tightly. I pulled my hand away from Caleb's grasp, walked a few steps toward Professor Wang, and gently refused. Thank you, Professor, but I don't think it's appropriate. Caleb and I have already broken up. Professor Wang froze. What? I just saw you two doing fine a few days ago. Couples argue, that's normal. Don't say break up so casually. His words carried a tone of guidance, like he was reminding me that a long relationship should withstand little disturbances. That deep affection shouldn't be shaken by someone who suddenly appears. This decision came after I thought very carefully, I said politely. Then I paused, sweeping my gaze toward Caleb and Bella. As for the specific reason, you can ask your two students. Their faces instantly turned pale. Professor Wang followed my gaze, his expression turning cold as realization dawned on him. He stepped into the private room without another word to them. Caleb followed him by one step, then stopped in front of me again. I looked toward Logan, who had been beaming earlier but now looked subdued. Audrey, Caleb said, his voice thick with desperation. I really know I was wrong. Professor Wang is going to scold me later for sure. Are you satisfied now? You didn't have to drag Logan into this just to provoke me. His eyes reddened. I admit there were moments when I felt sorry for Bella. She's gentle and pitiful sometimes, but I never crossed the line. Believe me, I'll never be like that again. I'll devote myself entirely to you. The hot pot on the table boiled loudly, steam rising, and stinging my eyes with its spicy heat. There was a complimentary plate of mandarins on the table, and the top one was visibly rotten. I picked it up and said calmly, They say that when a fruit has mold in one spot, even if you can't see it with the naked eye, the mold has already spread through the inside. I looked at him, feeling nothing but exhaustion. We've been together too long, long enough for you to get bored, long enough for things to lose their freshness. But do you think I can stay fresh forever and love you like the very beginning? Every love fades eventually. What matters is conscience. I continued, my voice steady amidst the bubbling noise of the restaurant. In the past 6 years, I've met people better than you, more handsome than you. Upperclassmen and underclassmen have asked for my WeChat. Some gave me gifts, some confessed their feelings. But I always respected my boundaries. Too bad you didn't. I held the fruit out slightly. Caleb, you are this rotten mandarin. Even if you cut away the spoiled part, even if the rest looks fine on the outside, it is already rotten inside. There are so many fresh mandarins on the plate. Why should I force myself to eat the one that's already spoiled? Caleb reached out and snatched the fruit from my palm. He did not peel it. With a manic sort of desperation, he shoved the entire mandarin, rind and all, into his mouth. He chewed frantically, his jaw working against the bitterness, and swallowed the unpalatable mess with a desperate gulp. See, he choked out, his voice trembling as he wiped juice from his chin. I can still eat it. It is still edible. I am just a little flawed, Audrey. You said before that even if I was not perfect, you would still love me. That was when you were still loyal to this relationship, I replied, my voice steady and cold. Caleb, you have been tainted. You are no longer someone worthy of my devotion. The light in his eyes extinguished completely. His lips quivered, forming silent words of protest, but before he could speak, the door to the private room burst open. Mason rushed out, breathless and frantic. Caleb, come on, Professor Wang is furious. Why are you not inside yet? Be careful. He just screamed at Bella until she was in tears. It is probably your turn next. Caleb was dragged away by his arm. His back, once so proud and straight, was now bent. His shoulders slumped as if he were carrying the weight of something he could no longer afford to keep. Logan signaled the waiter for another plate of fruit. He shot me a subtle, knowing look. Summer mandarins are too sour, Logan said softly. Want to try some watermelon instead? It is red, sweet, and juicy. I squinted at him. Logan, you did that on purpose, did you not? Our two labs are separated by a single wall. You knew they were having a dinner gathering, so you purposely chose a table right by the stairs to ensure we would bump into them. Logan rubbed his nose, a sheepish grin spreading across his face. You are too sharp. You got me. He reached down and pulled a bouquet of white calla lilies from beside his chair, presenting them to me with a gentle hopefulness. So, Audrey, do you think I have a chance? Calla lilies, the flower of purity and loyalty. It was a beautiful gesture, but I turned him down. I was certain I would never return to Caleb, but I also had no desire to rush into something new. 6 years of loving Caleb had drained all the fire from my heart. I needed time to gather the scattered pieces of myself. When the right time came and I met the right person, perhaps I could start a new chapter. But not now. Because of my complaint, Professor Wang had scolded Bella harshly and declared a strict new rule banning internal dating within the lab. He only had 3 female graduate students. One was married, one had a boyfriend outside the university. The rule clearly targeted Bella. As for Caleb, because he was the one who had strayed, the reprimand was even more severe. After dinner, Professor Wang dragged Caleb back to the lab to continue the lecture, warning him to stay away from Bella. He made it clear that if Caleb ever got entangled in such drama again, he should not call himself Professor Wang's student. Despite his gruff temper, Professor Wang was a man of integrity. He never withheld stipends or stole credit, and though he favored resilient students, he cared deeply for his team. His reputation was unshakable. Bella had been a direct admission student from another university, implying she should have been academically strong. For Professor Wang to dislike her this intensely, there must have been reasons beyond just this scandal. But none of that concerned me anymore. I was ready to start a completely new, singular life. The only problem was that Caleb clung to me like a ghost that refused to fade. Overnight, he suddenly seemed to have endless free time, appearing everywhere I went. After a major lecture, he stood waiting outside the building with a flamboyant bouquet of red roses. I threw them straight into the nearest trash can without breaking stride. Compared to the gaudy roses, I preferred the quiet, dignified strength of calla lilies. Once, in a moment of nostalgia, I had casually mentioned craving the honey-fried rice cakes from the vendor by our old high school gate. That night, Caleb took an overnight train back to his hometown. The next morning, he bought them, stuffed them into a thermos, and took a taxi all the way back to campus. When he handed them to me, the container was still warm, but the cakes had congealed into one mushy, unrecognizable lump. I held the container out for him to see. His face turned pale. "I will buy them again," he stammered. "I will be more careful next time." "Caleb," I said quietly, "do you not understand yet? There is no going back. Even if you manage to bring that old street vendor here to recreate the exact snack from my memories, it does not matter. I am no longer that girl, and you are no longer the boy you used to be. We are done. Wake up." "No, no." Caleb shook his head violently, eyes wide with panic. "Audrey, we are not over. We can start again. We can go back to the beginning." I was exhausted. I tried my best to avoid him, treating him like invisible air. He was simply in a state of emotional breakdown, temporarily unable to accept that I had let go so easily. Time, I thought, would eventually calm him down. But a week later, he pulled a stunt in front of the girls' dormitory that shattered the peace of the entire campus. Down in the courtyard, he arranged candles into a giant heart shape. Inside that flaming heart was a smaller one made of Estee Lauder skincare bottles. Holding a loudspeaker, his voice cracked as he repeated over and over, "Audrey, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. We agreed we would get married after graduation." The university campus is never short of gossip lovers. A huge crowd gathered instantly. Someone shouted, "Take him back." Then more voices chimed in, caught up in the performative romance of it all. "Forgive him, forgive him." Chloe leaned out from the hallway window, absolutely furious. Are these people insane? They love men who betray them so much. Then may their boyfriends cheat on them someday so they can beg in the exact same way. It was a moonless, starless night, sticky with humid summer air. I put on my noise-canceling headphones, blasted music, and continued my thesis research. I did not know how much time had passed before Chloe tapped my shoulder. "It is pouring outside," she said, looking concerned. "Caleb still has not left." Raindrops the size of beans hammered against the window pane. The crowd had already scattered, chased off by the sudden storm. Yet, when I looked down, Caleb was still kneeling on the grass. His hair hung in soaked strands across his face. His shirt clung to his thin frame, revealing ribs I had not noticed before. In just 1 month, he really had lost a terrifying amount of weight. The rain came down like a waterfall, but he did not move. His neck craned upward, his eyes fixed on my window with a haunting intensity. Under the dim glow of the street lamp, his silhouette on the ground looked blurred, like a ghost stuck in the mud, unable to escape his own purgatory. Far away, under the shelter of a tree, someone stood holding an umbrella, watching. It was Bella. The loudspeaker must have short-circuited, because Caleb's own hoarse voice carried upward through the rain. "Audrey, come down. Please come down. I need to talk to you. I have something to say." Curfew was nearing. If he kept this up, I would become the subject of endless rumors and administrative discipline. Resigned, I grabbed an umbrella and went downstairs. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up with a feverish hope. He scrambled to lift his jacket, which he had used to cover the Estee Lauder bottles. "Audrey, look, I bought a bunch. The salesperson said it is enough for you to use for 2 years. When you finish them, I will buy more." He carefully picked them up one by one, wiping the rain from the boxes with his wet sleeve and placing them into a bag. "They are a little wet on the outside, but they are still good to use." I shook my head, my expression unmoving. "I switched to using La Mer now," I said coldly. He froze. I continued, my voice cutting through the sound of the rain. "I used to think I should save money and put more toward a house deposit so our future marriage life would not be so hard. That is why I used affordable skincare, cheap and decent. But now, I do not need to save for us anymore. Caleb, I deserve better products, and I deserve someone better. Don't come to me again. 6 years. Do not let the last memories I have of you be desperation, and a pathetic image, that makes people resent you. Heavy raindrops slid down his face. It was impossible to tell what was rain and what was tears. I turned away to leave, but he suddenly lunged forward and grabbed my wrist. "Wait, I have one last thing to show you." He hurriedly pulled a waterproof document bag from his backpack. Inside was a deposit contract for an apartment. "You remember Peach Blossom Residence, right? Last time we passed by it, you said, if someday in the future we could buy a place there, that would be amazing." Caleb looked at me with a bright, eager smile that looked grotesque on his gaunt face. "I already put down a deposit on a 4-bedroom unit, 140 square meters. The deposit is paid." That neighborhood was luxurious. Close to the subway, near the university, surrounded by top-tier amenities. The developer had a pristine reputation. The only problem was that apartments there started at 2.4 million yuan. For 2 students, that price was crushing. Caleb continued, trying to please me. "In a few days, we will go sign the contract. I will put your name on the deed. I already covered 1.4 million for the down payment. I will handle the mortgage myself. Audrey, let's build a home together. A home that belongs only to us." I stared at him in disbelief. "Where did you get that kind of money? Your mom works as a house cleaner. She barely makes a few thousand a month. When your parents divorced, your dad hid the assets. He left you too with that old house that is not worth anything." "That is not important," Caleb said quickly, his eyes darting away. "Everything I used is legal. What matters is that this is the home you dreamed of. This will be our future." Then I remembered what my mother told me a few days earlier, and everything suddenly clicked into a horrifying picture. "My mom said she saw your mom walking with your dad back in your old neighborhood," I said slowly. "So they got back together. Your mother does not care that he cheated, and you forgave him too." Caleb lowered his head, unable to meet my gaze. "My dad cut ties with that other woman. That kid is not his. I am his only child. He realized my mom is the only one who truly loves him. He brought all his money back home. The down payment, he gave it voluntarily." "And your mom agreed to this?" I demanded, feeling a wave of nausea. "I remember her tears, Caleb. I remember the despair in her eyes. She told me more than once that she never wanted another man in her life, especially him. She just wanted a quiet life with her son." Caleb spoke softly, his voice drowned by the thunder. "My dad said he would buy me a house, buy me a car, make my future easier. And my mom, she agreed. I knew no one in this world was perfect. I had once believed that even if Caleb had flaws, he was not a bad person. He possessed good qualities. It was just that I valued purity and loyalty too much to tolerate his betrayal. But in that moment, the man standing in front of me felt like a stranger. A monster masked in familiar skin. I remembered the fight years ago. The mistress kept goading Caleb's father, and in front of everyone, his father had slapped Caleb's mother multiple times, calling her old, ugly, boring, and uneducated. For a long time after, the mistress even brought her child to his mother's workplace to taunt her. Caleb's mother eventually snapped and got into fights, which cost her the job. Back then, Caleb's eyes had burned red with anger, looking as if he were ready to throw his life away to defend his mother's honor. But now he was completely different. Maybe men really cannot fully empathize with their mother's suffering. In his eyes, a man cheating was not unforgivable. As long as he came back, brought money home, and acted repentant, that was enough for forgiveness. The luxury assets, are they bought with your dad's hush money too? Caleb panicked, gripping the contract tighter. "No, Audrey. No, listen to me. I am not like my dad. I just figured if he is offering money, taking it would make life easier for us in the future." I yanked my hand out of his grip, disgusted to my core. "Don't use me as an excuse. Your parents must have gotten back together at the end of last year, and even before that, your attitude toward me started to change. Ever since Bella started adding you on WeChat, your heart had already turned away. Caleb, everything you did for yourself." I took a step back, looking at him with utter revulsion. I used to think we shared the same background, that we were companions walking the same hard path. But I was wrong. I was wrong from the very beginning. There is a moral gap between us that can never be filled. I snatched the contract from his hand and threw it straight onto the ground. The rain and mud immediately smeared the ink until the words vanished into a gray blur. "We are done, you make me sick. Let's pretend we never knew each other. There will never be anything between us ever again. Stay away from me. If you don't, I will call the police." I turned and walked toward the dorm entrance without looking back. Behind me, Caleb collapsed into the muddy water, screaming in agony. "No, Audrey, no, no." The pounding rain drowned out his cries and buried them beneath the storm. Our dorm was on the 4th floor. My canvas shoes were completely soaked, leaving dark, heavy footprints on the tiles behind me. At first, the prints were distinct and sharp, water pooling in the ridges of the tread, but the higher I climbed, the fainter they became. By the time I reached my door and turned back to look, the hallway was spotless. The water had evaporated, leaving no trace of the path I had just walked. It was exactly like our 6-year relationship. I once believed its imprint was carved into the marrow of my bones, permanent and defining. But standing there, damp and shivering, I realized the truth. As long as I kept walking, step by step, those memories, those lingering attachments, those sweet whispers, those jagged wounds, and those illusions that shimmered like beautiful mirages in a desert would all eventually fade. They would blur, dry up, and disappear into the ether. Just keep walking. Keep moving, and everything becomes a new beginning. When I finally closed my door, shutting out the storm, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Logan. Summer break is coming up during the national holiday. A few of us are planning to bike around the lake. The scenery should be incredible. It will be fun. Want to come? I stared at the screen, a small smile touching my lips. Later that night, Caleb did not return to the dorm. He had drunk himself into oblivion. Bella, naturally, took care of him and made sure to send me a video to twist the knife. "Audrey," she said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "He is so drunk, poor thing. Do you want to come check on him?" The camera panned to Caleb, who lay sprawled across a hotel bed, completely wasted. He was thrashing slightly, mumbling into the sheets. "Audrey, do not leave me. Let us start over. Please." I instantly blocked her number. I knew that the next morning, she would run to Caleb and play the victim, claiming she called me for help, but I had callously blocked her. But that narrative had nothing to do with me anymore. A man with no spine and a woman with no moral compass. Let them cling to each other until they rot. Perhaps heaven actually heard my prayers. 1 month later, Caleb was waiting outside the institute gate, trying to ambush me as I left the laboratory. He had timed it perfectly, stepping into my path, but before he could speak, Bella suddenly sprinted over from the shadows. She was holding a plastic stick, sobbing theatrically. "Caleb, look, I am pregnant." In that moment, all color drained from Caleb's face, leaving him looking like a corpse. In graduate school, marriage and childbirth were not forbidden, but the timing was catastrophic. Even when Professor Wang tried to intervene to minimize the damage, Bella refused to terminate the pregnancy. She demanded marriage. She threatened that if Caleb refused to take responsibility, she would report the entire affair to the Education Bureau and ruin his academic career. Even though the office door was tightly closed, I could hear Professor Wang erupting inside. "Do not think I do not know what kind of person you are. Back then, you seduced a married professor just to keep your graduate school spot. And now, you are using that baby to ruin Caleb." But honestly, I could not blame Bella entirely. If Caleb had possessed stronger boundaries, she never would have had the chance to wiggle her way in. Still, once Bella unleashed her chaos, Caleb's chance of graduating became slimmer than climbing a ladder to heaven. Professor Wang knew he would be dragged down with him. The scandal spread so virulently that it could no longer be hidden. As the pressure mounted, Caleb discovered even more secrets about Bella. She had secured her direct admission thanks to a past affair scandal, not merit. She had no dead older brother. That was a lie for sympathy. Her mother was actually a mistress, and Bella was born because her mother wanted to replace the legal wife. However, the plan failed when she gave birth to a girl, while the legal wife gave birth to a boy. Both mother and daughter were kicked out of the family. But by the time Caleb learned the truth, it was already too late. Bella dropped the facade of the gentle, fragile girl. She revealed her true nature. She forced Caleb to do her experiments and write her thesis while she played the expectant mother. She demanded imported fruit, luxury skincare, designer handbags, and booked an upscale postpartum care center that cost a fortune. She clung to Caleb like a leech, draining him until he was a husk of his former self. Caleb grew visibly thinner by the day. He had become so gaunt he looked like a fragile bamboo stalk. One strong gust of wind could snap him in two. His mother once called me, her voice full of anguish and regret. "That girl is pregnant. What else can we do now? Audrey, you are such a good child. Our family owes you far too much." Bella even came to flaunt her victory in front of me one afternoon. "Honestly," she said, stroking her belly with a smug expression, "I could have gone for someone richer, but I cannot stand the smell of older men. Caleb is young, handsome, smart, and he is his father's only son. Even if he is not wealthy yet, he still has potential." She smirked, her eyes gleaming with greed. "I am his legal wife now, and this baby is the legal heir." Unfortunately for her, life was not a fairy tale. Shortly after, Caleb's father decided to leave his mistress and return to his wife, trying to mend his broken family. The mistress retaliated in a scorched earth fury by reporting him for possessing large, undocumented assets. The authorities seized everything. The apartment Caleb had bought could not be kept. With Caleb still a student and his mother earning a meager salary, there was no way he could sustain Bella's extravagant lifestyle. She argued with him every single day. His mother cried constantly. His father was in custody. Caleb's experiments kept failing, his mind too fractured to focus. He could not write a single word of his thesis. Even Professor Wang gradually lost faith in him. Then, at the worst possible time, Bella insisted Caleb pay the remaining fees for her luxury postpartum care center. The couple got into a screaming match at the top of the stairs. In the struggle, Bella lost her footing and fell. She lost both the baby and her uterus. Her greed had swallowed her whole, and Caleb paid dearly for his indecision. I once thought he would be trapped with Bella forever, locked in a cycle of mutual destruction. As for me, thanks to my advisor's glowing recommendation, I received a prestigious internship opportunity at a top research institute in Shen City. On the day I finally left, I did not expect Caleb to appear at the train station. He looked unrecognizable. His eye sockets were deep and sunken, dark circles bruising the skin beneath them. His shirt hung loosely on his skeletal frame, fluttering in the station draft. I had heard that he had also been offered an internship in Shen City months ago, but Bella had refused to let him go, fearing he would leave her. All the pride he once carried was gone. His expression was like a dead lake, still and lifeless. Only when he looked at me did a faint, painful glimmer appear. "Audrey," he said quietly, his voice raspy, "I finally understand how wrong I was. My life is probably ruined now. I hope you just keep getting better." I nodded calmly, feeling nothing but a distant pity. "Thank you. I hope the same for you." But I knew very well his life would not get better. After his father's arrest, his mother had called me repeatedly, full of regret. At first, I responded out of courtesy, but soon she began to plead. "Audrey, could you come back to Caleb? Bella will drag him down completely." From that point on, I stopped answering her calls. The high-speed rail station was packed with the summer crowd. It took me forever to find an empty seat. My suitcase was heavy with books and equipment, and I struggled to lift it into the overhead compartment. The weight was dragging me backward, threatening to make me lose my balance. Just as I was about to stumble, a strong hand reached out and steadied the bag, sliding the heavy luggage neatly into place with ease. I turned around and saw Logan smiling down at me, his eyes bright and warm. "What a coincidence," he said, his voice a comforting anchor in the chaos. "My family has a small company in Shen City. I am heading over this summer for some internship experience." I looked at him and the corners of my mouth lifted. It really was a coincidence. Or perhaps, finally, it was fate.